Everyone needs a 15-minute meal in their back pocket for those busy nights. I am Shelly with Art for My Table, and I have your dinner covered with this 15-minute sausage and kale soup. I love a big pot of soup to get me through a few days of meals. This one will come together so quickly, you will be enjoying it in no time. It's creamy, hearty, healthy, and so delicious. You'll definitely want this in your regular dinner rotation. It's perfect for the fall and winter season and all those chilly nights. You just need a few simple ingredients and the flavor, as I mentioned, is phenomenal. We're using ground pork, broth, salt and pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, ground sage, kale, heavy cream, and glucomannan. Okay, wait, gluco what? I know, I probably caught you off guard there. Glucomannan is totally an optional ingredient. It's actually a natural thickening agent, and I'll tell you a little bit more about it when we get to that step in the recipe. The important thing you need to know is you can totally make this recipe without it. The reason this recipe comes together so quickly is due to a couple of shortcuts. First, we're using dried herbs and spices, and secondly, we're using kale that's already cut up. You can find this in your grocery store in the produce section. Both of these things will significantly cut down on your time. We're going to start with 2 pounds of ground sausage. Get your pan very, very hot and cook the sausage until it's browned and no longer pink. Now you can use turkey sausage, chicken sausage, Italian sausage. If you like your soup to be spicy, add some hot Italian sausage in as well. Once it's cooked, drain it of the excess fat and return it to the pan. Now if you'd like it to be extra lean, while you have the meat in a colander, you can rinse it with extremely hot water, and that will cut down on the fat as well. Now we're gonna add 2 quarts of broth. I love to use my homemade bone broth because it has extra health benefits. It's really good for your gut and it's immune building. But regular chicken broth or even vegetable broth is totally fine. Then we'll add 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of pepper, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, and 1 teaspoon of sage. Now we'll stir this all together and then bring it to a gentle boil. Once it's had a few minutes to simmer, you can reduce the heat and add the heavy cream. Let's talk about this glucomannan that I mentioned. I buy this at my natural health food store, and again, this is an optional ingredient. All it's gonna do is thicken the soup just a little bit, but I like to use it because it's a healthier option than some of the other things out there. It's made of the konjac root, and that has a lot of great health benefits. You can also use arrowroot powder or cornstarch if you want to thicken your soup. And I just thicken it slightly so that it will cling to the back of my spoon. If you want to use cornstarch or arrowroot powder, simply make a slurry by mixing equal parts of the powder and cold water. Then whisk it together really well and pour it into your hot soup. For the glucomannan, we only need 1/2 teaspoons, and you simply sprinkle it over the soup while you're whisking at the same time. Last, we'll add the chopped kale. I love using kale because it holds its shape really well once it's cooked. No slimy greens here. It only takes a minute for it to wilt and it will turn bright green. And you can serve this soup immediately. Garnish it with a little pepper if you'd like. This is gonna make enough soup for 8 to 10 people, but you can easily cut the recipe in half for a smaller amount. It also freezes really well. In order to freeze it, make sure it's cooled completely and then just ladle it into a Ziploc bag. I recommend that you double bag it and then lay it flat in your freezer. Sometimes things get tossed around in the freezer and those bags will get little holes in them that you don't really see until you have a leaky mess. To reheat the soup, thaw it completely and warm it up over medium-low heat. Now, since it's a cream-based soup, it could separate after freezing, but once you warm it up and stir it, it should all come together again just fine. For more recipes, be sure to visit artformytable.com, and I will see you next time.